Anti-D Law welcomes you to the 7-day course for the LSAT India. In this course, you will receive 7 lessons each for logical reasoning, analytical reasoning, and reading comprehension. So let's begin with today's lecture.
This is LR4, the 4th lesson on logical reasoning.
In this video, we'd be solving questions from the official LSAT India prep test, so you can have a look at these at the LSAT India website. Right, so pause the video at this point and try solving the question by your own self before listening to my explanation. Alright, so let's have a look at the question stem first, and then we'll proceed to the options and choose the right answer. As you can see, in this question, you are required to find as to which of the 4 options most seriously weakens the argument given here. So let's have a look at what the argument is. Alright, so as you can see, this question deals with the habit of scribbling in textbooks, right? So it says that scribbling in textbooks is inexcusable, and it says that it is harmful to the books, aesthetically displeasing, and distracting to the readers who buy it. So basically what you can see is that about scribbling in textbooks, it says that it is not excusable, and that it says that it is harmful, displeasing, and distracting. So this basically is the argument. Now let's proceed to see as to what the options are. So what we've seen in this passage is that scribbling has been considered something that's harmful, displeasing, and distracting. So it's something that's harmful, displeasing, and distracting according to the passage. So now if I have to weaken this argument, then we basically have to find an option that says that it is not harmful, right? That's what would weaken it. Or it could even go to the extent of saying that it is helpful, right? So now once we understand this, the answer to this question is quite clear. You can see that option B tells you that they are aesthetically indifferent, which means that it is not harmful to them, it is not displeasing, and sometimes even find it helpful. Therefore, this most strongly weakens the argument. You can look at the other options. You will find that they are either unrelated or do not affect the argument so as to weaken it.
We'll now solve our second LR question for the day.
Just pause the video first and try solving the question by your own self before listening to my explanation. So this passage essentially talks about the relationship between efficiency of energy and consumption of energy, right? So we are to see here that there is a conflict. What is the conflict between? The conflict is between, the first thing is what is presumed. What he writes as presumably. So what is presumed is that if the efficiency increases, then there should be a decrease in the consumption. So this is what is presumed. However, what is found through empirical data, which means through having found out some data and getting the actual facts, what is found is that as the efficiency increases, the consumption either remains the same or it increases. So as you can see, there is a conflict between these two, right? So what we are required to do is that we have to see as to which option explains this conflict. So basically what we have here is that when the efficiency has increased, right, there's an increase in the efficiency, which means that earlier if it was using 50 units, now it is using only 40 units of electricity or energy. But what you're seeing is that despite this increase in efficiency, overall there is an increase in consumption. Okay, so let us see option by option as to what explains this kind of paradoxical change. Okay, let's start with option A. It says that when countries increase their energy efficiency, then they buy more energy efficient appliances as compared to appliances that are not energy efficient. Now, if you are buying energy efficient appliances, it means there should be a decrease in the consumption. But this is not explaining the increase in consumption, which means I can get rid of this option, because it is not explaining the increase. It is in fact explaining a decrease. So I will get rid of this option. Let's look at option B. Option B says that a country that increases in energy efficiency in a country are accompanied by the introduction of new energy consuming goods. Okay, so what he's saying here is that let us say 50 may have reduced to 40, but there are now new products that are introduced. So let us say earlier there was only one product, so the energy being used was 50, but a new thing means there are two of them, for example, and each of them takes 40. That means the total becomes 80. So this explains an increase in the consumption. So this is a possible right answer. Okay, so let's look at the next option. Perhaps this is the right answer. Let's look at the other options. If the other options get eliminated, it means that B is the answer. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. Let's look at option C. It says that when countries increase their energy efficiency, they usually sell their surplus to other countries. You see, this is not about buying, selling, it's only about consumption. This is irrelevant, so I can eliminate this option as well. Let's look at option D. Different countries use different standards for calculation. Okay, this is not about the method that is used for calculation, and therefore this option can also be gotten rid of. Okay, then let's look at option E. It says causes other than increased energy efficiency can account for decreased energy consumption. You see, we are not looking here to explain decreased energy consumption. We are looking for an explanation for the increased consumption, and therefore again I can get rid of this, which means that our answer is the option B, which we had identified. Alright, let's move to the next question. So we move on to our last question for the day, question 21. So I really like this question. It's quite beautiful, the ideas that are given by Alexia and Malik. So just pause the video and try solving it by yourself before we solve it together. So as you can see here, Alexia has said something, Malik has said something, and he disagrees. And now in this dialogue, we have to see as to which option, which of the four options provides the support for what Alexia and Malik disagree over, which means what is the point of their disagreement. For that we have to look at the options. Let's first try to see as to what is spoken between them and what their disagreement is about. Okay, let's first look at what Alexia has to say. Okay, so Alexia says that our ignorance about the lives of novelists is unfortunate. So she says that how much deeper and more complete our appreciation of their works would be if we knew more about the personal wellsprings of their thought and art. So what Alexia says is that, let us say this is a novel, okay, and it is written by a novelist. So she says that if we knew more about the novelist, then we'd be able to appreciate the novel much more, and we'd be able to appreciate their works a lot better, and our understanding of it would be much more deep. On the other hand, what Malik says is that since we know nothing about the novelist, right, you can resist the temptation of thinking of this thing as his biography. See, let us say you knew about the novelist, then you would perhaps want to think of this novel as his biography and then start analyzing as to why he wrote it. So on the contrary, he says that instead of looking at it from that narrow perspective of its being a biography or doing its psychoanalysis, he says that instead you can engage each work only on its artistic terms. So according to him, you can best appreciate the novel without looking at the details of the novelist and appreciate it only on the basis of what it is by itself, on its own artistic terms. So what is the disagreement? Alexia says that to understand a novel, it is important or it is great to know as to the details of the novelist. But Malik says that he disagrees. He says you must only focus on the novel. On the contrary, knowing the novelist is something that hinders the true appreciation of the artistic work. So now you understood as to where they disagree. Now let's go and have a look at the options. So the subject matter of their debate here is with regard to a novel and its true appreciation and understanding, right? So according to Alexia, in order to truly appreciate a novel, it is good to know about the novelist. But according to Malik, in order to truly appreciate the novel, it is better not to know about the novelist. Okay. So now let's see as to which of the options helps us arrive at this conclusion. Okay. Now it's best to kind of pick up what look like some of the worst options in the beginning. Let us say we look at option D. Okay, look at option D. It says a novelist's work is not influenced by the details of his personal life. Now, this is not the point that either Alexia or Malik is making. What they are saying is that it might be influenced. Alexia says that we should know about it. Malik says that we should not know about it. Nobody is talking about whether it influences or not, and therefore I will eliminate this option, okay, because it is not what we are dealing with. Next, let's say look at option A. It says that understanding a novelist's work is of little or no value in understanding the novelist's life. Again, nobody has said that you cannot understand a life through a novel or about. It's not about that at all. It's not about whether you can understand a novelist's life. It is only about whether you can appreciate the novel. It's about the novel and not the novelist, right? So in a similar vein, I can also eliminate the option A for the same reason. Let's look at option C. It says a psychoanalytic approach provides an inadequate method of understanding a novelist's life. Same mistake. What are you here for? You are here for the novel. You are not here for the novelist. So again, I get rid of option C. Let's look at option B. Understanding the personal wellsprings of the work of certain novelists is impossible without the knowledge of their lives. Again, we are not here to appreciate the novelist. I hope you can understand this little difference. If you are unable to identify your target here, the novel and the appreciation of the novel. I hope you understand the significance of this. If you are unable to locate what you are here for, then you cannot get a question like this right. And if you know what you are here for, you can see that the 4 options have been eliminated so easily. Again, this is also about the novelists, and therefore I can eliminate this. This leaves us with only one option that talks about the novel. It says that the knowledge of a novelist's personal life can interfere with the appropriate understanding of the novelist's work. We are dealing with the work of the novelist, and this also makes sense. Therefore, the answer to this is the option E. I hope this video made some sense to you. In case you have any questions related to these, you may ask me in the comment section. Thank you.